All right, so we are starting 4.2, which is solving equations. These are one-step equations just like we did the other day, but you'll notice with our learning goal, it says that I can write and solve equations using multiplication and division. So the other day we started off using addition and subtraction, and so this is still going to be a one-step, only this time we will be doing, again, multiplication and division. The warm-up should be completed already before you're watching this video, and we are actually going to go over the warm-up during our next class. All right, so key ideas. So we have the multiplication property of equality, and just like when we had our addition property of equality, multiplication is the same thing. So this is whenever we multiply the same number on both sides of the equal sign. So we're going to skip this part because we're going to get into that in a moment. And the division property of equality is very similar. So it's kind of like with division. The other day we said we had to keep it balanced. So this time, whenever we divide by something on one side, we also have to divide by something on the other side. And it has to be the same thing. So we learned that equations have to be equal, and we've learned that whenever we are trying to solve for x, whatever we do to one side, we have to do the other, and that's where these properties come in today. So these properties are going to be helping us keep our equations balanced. So you will notice, for this example, it looks like we have a fraction, but really what this is saying is x divided by, so this is saying divided by 3. So we have x divided by 3 is going to give us, or equal, -6. So we're going to draw a line down our equals. Remember, that is our first step always. And we have to ask ourselves, do we see any multiplication or division? So a fraction, that means division. So we have division happening in our equation right now. And so the inverse of division is going to be multiplication. And so we now, to keep it balanced and to get rid of it, we are going to, sorry, I'm just going to move this so that way I can write on here. So when we multiply by 3, the inverse of dividing by 3, you'll notice that when we do 3 times x, we have 3x, and then divided by 3, that just gives us an x. So these 3's here cancel. So by doing the inverse property, we are canceling out everything that's near the x, leaving us on that side with just an x. But based on what we just learned, we learned that whatever we multiply by on one side, we have to multiply by on the other side. So we multiplied by 3, so we are also going to multiply by 3 on the right side of the equation. And so we have -6 times 3, and negative times a positive gives us a negative, and 6 times 3 is 18. So we found out that x in this equation is equal to -18. We can check our work by plugging in x. So we had x divided by 3 equaling -6. But just like in sports, when you substitute in for somebody else has to come out. So right now the 6 is in the game, we're going to sub them out, and we're going to put the answer we just found in the place of the x. So -18 divided by 3 gives us a -6. So we know we got that answer correct. All right, part B. So we're going to draw our line down the equal sign. And we need to ask ourselves, first, is there any multiplication division happening? Well, you'll notice that we have 4 next to the y. This actually means we're doing -4 times y. So we have multiplication. So the opposite, or the inverse, is division. So that means that we have to divide by -4 to cancel it out on the right side. So we are going to divide by -4, and I make it look like a fraction. That way it's a little bit easier for us. And so we have y, because these cancel, equals, and then 18 divided by -4. My calculator, I'm going to do 18 divided by 4, and on our computer calculators, we then hit the negative sign, equals, and we get -4.5 equals y. So let's check our work and make sure that we're correct. So we have 18 is equal to -4 times y, but we found out that y is actually -4.5. So we're going to check on our calculator is 4, make it negative, times 4.5, which is also negative, equal to 18. And you'll see that it is, so we got this one correct. All right, so you're going to do the tries on your own, and then you are going to check your answers with mine. So you're going to pause the video here, and then once you are done completing the try-its, you're going to check your answers. Make sure that you're following along with the notes and that you are completing them, because I am taking this for a grade next class. All right, so for number 1, you'll see it's x divided by 5. And so we are dividing, which means we have to do the opposite. So we have to multiply to get rid of the 5 on the left side. So we multiply by 5 on both sides. And when we do, we get -2 times 5, which gives us -10. I then went down here and plugged in -10 on top, because that's what we found for x. And so -10 divided by 5 gives me -2, which is what we wanted our equation to be equal to. And so we know we got it correct. For number 2, it doesn't look like it's happened, like anything is happening at the beginning. But remember, we said that there's always a negative, or there's always a 1 in front of our a. So if we have a negative a, it's the same thing as having a -1. So -1 times a is what's happening. So we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to divide by -1 on both sides, and we get 24s. Because -24 divided by -1 gives us just a positive 24. So if I plug in 24, and then I will see that if I make it negative, it's going to equal -24. So we know we got that one correct. Number 3, we are multiplying -1.5 in, and so we have to do the opposite. We're going to divide by 1.5, and that cancels out the 1.5 on the right side. And so 3 divided by -1.5 gives us -2. So when I go and plug that in, 4 in, -1.5 times -2 gives me a +3. So again, we got that one correct. I want you to pause the video now, and I want you to do the quick write, which is asking you, how is the process of solving equations similar and different when using addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. So how was last class similar to this class? When you're done, press play and continue the video. We're starting solving equations using reciprocals, and you'll notice that there's a fraction. However, this is just saying that we're going to take negative 4/5 times x, and it's going to be negative 8. So when there's a fraction, you have to figure out what the reciprocal is. So this is the flipped fraction. So we have negative 5/4 is our flipped fraction. And so we're going to multiply that to both sides. I always put a 1 underneath my whole number. That way I know what I'm multiplying when I multiply straight across. And so these cancel everything on this side. I forgot to draw my line. So we have x equals, and then you just multiply straight across. So 8 times 5 is going to give us 40, and it's going to be positive because 2 negatives equals positive, divided by 4. So 40 divided by 4 is just 10. So our answer is just 10. So to check our work, we have 4/5, and it's negative, times 10 equals negative 8. So 4 times 10 is negative 40, divided by 5. Negative 40 divided by 5 gives us negative 8. We know that we got that one right as well. All right, so using these steps, we're going to ask ourselves, is there a fraction? Yes, we see 3 halves. So we have to flip 3 halves, and when we flip 3 halves, we get 2/3. So we're going to multiply 2/3 to both sides. The 2's cancels, the 3's cancel, and now we just have z is equal to, I always put that over 1, so 2 times 6 gives us negative 12 because it's a negative 6, and then 3 times 1 gives us 3. 12 divided by 3 gives us 4, but it's going to be negative. And so z is equal to negative 4. So we have negative 6 equals 3 halves times negative 4, and put that over 1. 3 times negative 4 is 12 over 2 is equal to negative 6. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6, so we got that one correct as well. You are going to complete the try it and then check your answers with me. And we're actually going to wait on the modeling in real life for next class, so that way we can do the word problems together. So right now I want you to pause the video and complete the try-its. All right, for number 1, we had negative 8/5. We are going to use the reciprocal, so that's negative 5/5, and we multiply that on both sides. And when we do that, we get this side to cancel, so the left side is just b, and then 5 times negative 5 is negative 25, and 1 times 8 is 8. So we're going to divide that in our calculator, and we get a decimal, and that's okay. So it's negative 3.125. When I check my work, I take 8 times 3.125, and then divide by my bottom number, because 5 times 1 is 5. So 25 divided by 5 gives me 5. I know I got that correct. So go ahead and check your work with mine, and then once you are all done, you can stop the video and begin your homework.